Hi there everyone, my name's Angelia and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this simple slip dress. And without further ado, let's get on with this tutorial. So to start, this is the list of things you're going to need to make this dress. I'm also going to show you guys how to prep your pattern, so this is me downloading and printing out the file. All the instructions on how to use and put this pattern together is also included with the PDF, so you should check that out as well. After taping all the pieces together, I'm going to fold back the paper at the fold line and then trim out the size that I need. To cut out this pattern, I recommend placing some scrap paper underneath your fabric to keep the fabric from slipping when cutting. This pattern also needs to be cut on the fold, and also note that it is being cut on the lengthwise grain, which is parallel to the selvage. For fabric, I think you can make this dress in almost any mid-weight fabric. Anything with stretch is workable, but it may be hard to sew, so it really depends on you. I'm using a mid-weight crepe for this dress. Make sure to also mark your notches when cutting this pattern. Next, I'm going to be cutting out 4 strips of bias strip, about 1 1/4 inch wide and 30 inches long each. You can also buy pre-made single-folded bias strips like the one I'm showing you here. It should be the same color as your main fabric, but that's all I had on hand for now. So if you're making your own bias strips, you're going to want to press it in half and then in half again towards the middle. Make sure not to stretch out the strip too much when pressing. It's a bit of a long process, but it'll make sewing a lot easier in the long run. This is how the bias strip should look once you're finished pressing. Now it's time to bring out the sewing machine. So we're going to start with the front pattern first. And we're going to line up the bias strip flat along the V-neck with the bias strip overlapping each other at the point of the V. So you're going to want to sew down the middle ditch of the bias strip, and at the point where the bias strip overlaps, you're going to fold over one side of it and sew down the middle. It's a little bit hard to explain, but I'll show you after I'm done sewing. After you stitched everything down, you're going to trim off the excess bias strips. This is what it should look like after you finish the first round of sewing. The bias strip should be overlapping and stitched down like I'm showing you here. And then we're going to cut a small slit to create ease at the V-neck point. Next, we're going to fold the bias strip close and sew an understitch close to the fold line we just made. So the V-neck point is looking a bit funky, but it's okay, trust the process. We're going to fold the bias strip over one more time towards the wrong side of the fabric and sew a 1/4 inch top stitch. This should clean and flatten out the V-neck. This is the final result after adding the bias strip along the V-neck. This is what the right side of the fabric should look like. Now we're going to move on to the armhole and the straps. We're repeating the same process with the bias strip, but this time along the armholes, and then leaving the excess bias strip at the top to create the straps later. So like before, I sewed down the middle ditch of the bias strip, then folded it in half and sewed an understitch. Then I folded it one more time towards the wrong side of the fabric and sewed a 1/4 inch top stitch. But I'm going to continue that stitch to edge stitch the rest of the bias strip closed by folding it in half to create the straps. Next, I'm trimming down the straps to my desired length. I have a size chart included in the instructions pamphlet for this pattern to reference what length to cut. This is what the armholes and the straps should look like once you finish sewing on the bias strips. Now we're going to move on to the back piece. I'm going to line up the front and the backs together, wrong sides together, and pin my straps in place at the back notch marks, making sure they aren't twisted in the process. Next, I'm going to tack down the straps a 1/4 inch to permanently hold them in place, and then repeat the whole process with the bias strips one more time along the back top opening. Now we're going to finish off the side seams, stopping at the bottom notch, which will make the side slits of the dress. You can either finish the seams off with a 1/2 inch straight stitch and serging the seam allowance and pressing it open, but if you don't have a serging machine like me, you could do a French seam, which is basically sewing your fabrics together with a 1/4 inch straight stitch, wrong sides facing together, trimming down the seam allowance to about 1/8 of an inch, and then flipping the seam over and sewing another 1/4 inch straight stitch, and then pressing that seam towards the back of the dress. Now we're almost at the finish line of making this dress. We're going to hem the side slits and the bottom of this dress with a 1/4 inch turn back top stitch. For the bottom hem, I recommend making a 1/4 inch stay stitch before turning back the hem to keep it from stretching out when sewing. Next, we're adding either a back stitch or a small zigzag stitch at the top of the slit opening to reinforce the seam from splitting in the future. And last, we're going to give the whole dress a good press, and then we're done. I'm really happy with how the dress came out. It was very simple, but also versatile. I'm also going to be showing you guys some ways to style this dress, so I hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, so that is the end of the tutorial. I hope you guys like it. If you guys end up making this dress, make sure to tag me on Instagram and all of my socials, and maybe you'll be featured on my page. I'm having a lot of fun making these patterns and doing these tutorials, so I hope to make more in the future. So stay tuned for that, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!